Hey guys, let's bring you out to Livingston Parish. This is the warehouse where all of the voting machines are stored. So what's happening today is they are going through and making sure that all of the votes have been counted properly. And that is what is happening this morning. In fact, I want to bring in Livingston Parish Clerk of Court Jason Harris to kind of explain the process. Jason, what's happening right now?
Okay, so 3 days after an election, our Board of Election Supervisors come together with our employees. We open every machine. We have 200 plus machines here. We turn them on. We verify the votes on the machine match what we have from the election. So we go to each machine. We get them all unlocked. You can see the bags on the machine. This was some information that the commissioners had during election day. We pull the bags out, put them on top. They go through each machine on the count on the machine, and we have a piece of paper that has that number, and we write it down. Our ladies write it down, and then we verify that those numbers match the numbers from election day.
So on the digital, it'll say so and so, and then you look and compare that to
Yes,
what's on the books.
yes, to what we have. So like this one here, we have a number. We verify that number is the number that we have from election night, and they write it down. They write down every one of them to verify it, and we go through every one of them. Then we look at it before we leave here to make sure all of them add up, and then I sign off on the machines. I'm on the piece of paper, so that tells us that all the machines added up to what we had from election night.
So would you say this is basically the official recount?
This is official. It wouldn't be a recount. This is the official certification from
Okay.
election. So everybody around the state 3 days after the election this morning around the state is doing the exact same thing we're doing, and they have the same machines that we have. So it's like I say, it's a protocol that we have to use from the Secretary of State. It's 3 days after election, so this is 3 days, 9 o'clock this morning. We do this after every election in the warehouse here.
And now, if there was something that needed to be changed or there was an error,
Right.
how does that work?
Okay, if there was an error, if we see something on a machine or machines, the numbers don't add up, or we see something that's odd, first thing we do is contact the Secretary of State. I said, okay, and then we get together as soon as we can get together and figure out if there was a problem. I've been here 7.5 years, and that's never been an issue. It's been 100% for 7.5 years. I have not met with them. They just finished tallying up, so we're fixing to meet now to go through, make sure the numbers are correct, and then if they are, then I sign off.
And send that over to the
And
Secretary
then
of State.
Secretary of State gets those numbers correct, and then we're done with the election unless there's a recount.
Okay, now speaking of a recount, the opponent for sheriff, Brett
Right.
McMaster's campaign, or his friend supporters
Right.
have at least requested possibly a
That's
recount?
correct. So we received written notification yesterday, request for a recount. So once that happens, that has to be in our office, and the funds have to be received by 4:30 today. So the request was made yesterday. We let the candidate know, or his campaign know, that a certain amount is due by 4:30 today. That email was sent about 4:30 yesterday afternoon. There's fees from the Board of Election Supervisors, and there's fees from the Secretary of State. So once that all was calculated, that email was sent late yesterday afternoon. So those funds are due to us today by 4:30. If they're received by 4:30, the recount will happen on Thursday. If it's not received, there's no recount, and that's all Secretary of State laws.
Okay.
That's the protocol that we have to go by.
Well, thank you
Okay?
so very
Thanks,
much.
Karen.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
So let's finish explaining this for you guys. So on Thursday, when that recount happens, it's not going to be a recount of these machines. In fact, it would be a recount of the absentee ballots, and those would be the ballots that were mailed in. And we're going to get with the registrar on explaining that one for you as well.
So basically, it's going to be a recount of our absentee and absentee by mail ballots. Those are done by voters who are 65 and older, military, people who may be out of town during an election, working out of state. They're able to request a ballot by mail, and that's what we're going to recount on Thursday.
So explain the process. It's a bubble sheet for absentee, and then after you receive that in the mail, do you put that through a scanner?
Yes.
Explain that to us. And that's basically what you guys, a human being, is going to put eyes on it, correct, and verify?
Yes. And we do that. Okay, so from the beginning, the ballots come back to us in a sealed envelope inside another sealed envelope with an affidavit. The affidavit contains the voter's information, the voter's signature, witness signatures, anything that may be required by law is on the affidavit of the envelope that the ballot is in. On election night, the board verifies that that information is correct, that the voter did fill everything out. Um, they are registered. They did request the ballot. All those things are verified. Once that's done, the affidavit flap is taken off of the envelope. What that does is separate the vote from the person, because we have a right to a secret ballot in this state. So you can't just open them and know whose ballot it is. But then those ballots are taken and ran through a scanner. It does save a copy, a digital image of every ballot that goes through. So technically, those images are already saved in there. But what we're going to do is do the process again of tabulation so that we can verify that.
So one more time, there will be 2,140 absentee ballots that the registrar must go through. Now, it's still unclear if the Secretary of State will ask them to scan all of these back through the machine, which would probably take about an hour or so, or if they need to go verify them by hand to make sure that the bubble that was picked out on the scanner is the one that the machine actually did pick up. So that could take several hours. That is what will happen on Thursday. And again, we will keep you updated on how this process goes on all platforms of Unfiltered with Kieran.